evening. Thank you very much for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now. I'm Hina Gambhir. Tonight, viewers, let's focus on VIP entitlement culture. Some netas feel they are above law. Lal Batti was taken away, but the mindset, it seems, is yet to change. Look at these visuals that you're now going to see on your screens. These are from two different states in the country, Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, but both represent VVIP arrogance. In Andhra Pradesh, the BJP chief, Somu Viraju, was on his way to a place called Amalapuram, where prohibitory orders are in place. Cops stopped the BJP chief's car on the highway, and what followed then was just shocking. Viraju was stopped by police. An argument took place between police and the BJP chief present at the spot. Viraju then is seen pushing the cops and using harsh language. Then the BJP chief in Andhra Pradesh was taken into custody and was shifted to local police station. In this video, he can be clearly seen pushing the cop on duty, but he remains unapologetic. Mirror Now confronted the Neta. Listen in.
But the police are unnecessarily, some private vehicle is on my car is going in a highway, they are threatening my car. Some private vehicle is continuously torturing my vehicle. Police is requesting the private vehicle, and that vehicle is come to my vehicle, attack my vehicle. On that time that some police officials used the foul language, very foul language. Of course, I am the state BJP president. He used the brutal language of that police department. Immediately, and I went out and attacked the police. Why you are using this type of language? This is not good. This is not good. I am only one. I have no other, our workers, our leaders. I am on the way to Amalapuram. I am almost 40 kilometers away from Amalapuram. Police are continuously following from my native place, Rajahmundry, to Alamuru area. They are creating violence. I am not creating violence. So many YCP MLAs, YCP ministers is attacking in the Andhra Pradesh. They are attacking the police department. They are not booked any cases. I sent the videos. Recently, so many MLAs are attacking slapped some engineers. They are not booked any cases.
So the Andhra Pradesh BJP chief clearly in the visuals was seen pushing the cop, but there you heard him justifying his action, remains defiant. Now look at this incident that has come to light from Bengaluru in Karnataka. Here also, a BJP leader, Arvind Limbavali's daughter, can be seen misbehaving with the cops when she was penalized for rash driving. And when media went to cover this, she even misbehaved with the media personnel. And let me now straight away go across to my colleague Imran, joining us on the broadcast more on this. Imran, good evening. Could you tell us exactly what happened?
Well, Grishma, what is happening today is Karnataka is that tomorrow there's the Rajya Sabha elections happening and all the parties are having legislative party meet. So similarly, Congress is having legislative party meet at the Atrio Hotel and the BJP here is having the legislative party meet. During evening, when Arvind Limbavali's daughter was here, she was rash driving for which the cops fined her, and when they went on to stop the vehicle and said that you are rash driving and they fined her for that fine, she threw a tantrum saying that she is the MLA's daughter and who are there to question him. They even went on when the media person, a particular media channel was reporting that they claim that she even misbehaved with them and even went on to slap one of the reporter. Now this entire incident has been caught by the channel, which they duly shared the visuals with us. As you can see from the visuals, the high-handedness, the VVIP racism on the part of the MLA's daughter, and no lesser than a powerful leader of the BJP, Mr. Arvind Limbavali, was earlier party president too. Now the fact is that we spoke to Mr. Arvind Limbavali over this issue. Limbavali claims that 10,000 incidents like this happen in Bangalore every day. Why are they only particularly targeting his daughter? When we try to make him understand that what is the point when she said she's a Limbavali's daughter, she's not telling her father's name, but in fact throwing the weight around the fact that she's a VVIP's daughter. And she went on to even misbehave with the police personnel and also with the media personnel here. The entire incident is caught in camera for everybody, the viewers, to make a judgment on that. We're trying to bring you the facts and what the response of the senior leader of the BJP is. We tried to confront him over this issue. He says that there's nothing wrong in what his daughter has done. He also goes on to say that incidents like this, thousands of which happen every day in Bangalore, and she's been particularly targeted because she's Limbavali's daughter. That is the reason why the media is going after her and the other opposition is targeting them, is because of the fact that she's BJP leader's son and she's Limbavali's daughter. But the entire episode is caught on camera to see her behavior, to see the fact that she misbehaved with the police personnel who find there's another driver in the car who was driving it, but when the vehicle was stopped, the manner in which she behaved was rude towards the cops, and even she went on to, even when the media person, a particular channel was covering that, they even went on to misbehave with the reporter there. Now we tried to get a response from the Chief Minister over this. Chief Minister remained mum. The Home Minister, we got a response, tried to seek a response from him. He said that he doesn't want to comment, and senior leadership is at the moment the BJP does not want to comment on this issue, where it's crucial meeting of the Rajya Sabha polls for the third candidate for Leher Singh Soria is going on inside the Capital Hotel in Bangalore.
All right, Imran, thank you for the moment for joining us with all of those details. So you heard, viewers, what happened in Karnataka. We told you what has happened in Andhra Pradesh. So are netas above law? That's something that we are going to be discussing on Urban Debate this evening. Joining us on the broadcast are my guests. We have Dinakar Lanka, leader of the BJP. Aishwarya Mahadev, who is a spokesperson of the Congress party, is live with us. Vikram Singh, former DGP Uttar Pradesh, is live with us. And we're also joined by Anurag Naidu, who is an author. Good evening to all of you. Thank you for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror Now. Mr. Dinakar Lanka, I want to begin the discussion with you. In Andhra Pradesh, the BJP chief is clearly seen pushing the cops on duty. In Karnataka, a former BJP chief's daughter is trying to throw her weight around by telling the cops that she is a VVIP's daughter, and Mr. Arvind Limbavali responds by saying 10,000 such incidents happen every single day. So what's the big deal? Are netas above law, sir?
No doubt, sir. No one is above the law. Every should respect law. In accordance to law only, they have the roles and responsibility in this civilized society. As far as the Andhra Pradesh incident is concerned, it is very clear that when the BJP chief Somvir Raju Garu went from Rajahmundry to Amalapuram in order to give some kind of concern those who have been inadvertently booked the case by the state government in though those Karyakartas are not part in the violence which happened in Amalapuram. This government under the leadership of Jagan Mohan Reddy unnecessarily they put the case against our party Karyakartas. So he wants to go to give his concern for Karyakartas while he is moving from Rajahmundry itself. Why unnecessarily police are marching ahead with him? If there is any kind of inconvenience is there, they can give notice.
But Mr. Dinakar Lanka, all that is fine. He must be going for something very specific, I'm sure. He must be going there for some work, but we also know that the place where he was going, prohibitory orders are in place. My question to you is very, very simple. In the video that we have shown to our viewers, he can be seen pushing the cop on duty. Can a neta do this? Yes or no? Mr. Dinakar Lanka.
I tell very clearly.
Is a neta entitled to push a cop on duty?
I can tell very clearly no. But in the case of Andhra Pradesh, the things happening around the police by the government They are using the police as a tool to torture the political opponents, irrespective of the political parties. All oppositions are being targeted through police. The Gunda Raj through police is going on in the state of Andhra Pradesh. They can give notice. They can have a civilized manner to make appeal by means of obstructing by arranging these kind of big vehicles on national highway. Is itself is crime? Is it such kind of obstacles for the traffic
Mr. Vikram Singh,
acceptable?
does it give a license to any neta to, push any cop on duty?
Hina, I'm extremely shocked and aghast to see this kind of a rude and abrasive behavior from the BJP president of Andhra Pradesh and the MLA's daughter. A sense of entitlement is an anachronism and has no place in a civilized society and a democracy like ours. My recommendation to the police would be, do not give such a long rope. They have committed an offense under 332 of the Indian Penal Code. No talking, put them behind bars, and let the BJP decide whether this man deserves to be the president of the state BJP or not, and he should be thrown out of the job of the president. One who's not able to conduct himself within the ambit of law and with propriety and sense of dignity has no business to hold this high office. Number two, the MLA's daughter and the MLA. Just too bad, Mr. MLA, your daughter seems to be drunk on power, pelf and arrogance. She's lucky that she's in your state. In any other place, she would have been, the Mahila police would have taken her to task and put her behind bars, rightfully so. And if not today, if you don't check her, counsel her, I see a very bleak future and I see her behind bars sooner than later. Therefore, if you know what is good for you, please counsel the child. She appears to be a teenager and needs your counseling and also your mentoring. Now, the police have a job to perform. I would compliment the police in both the cases for being absolutely patient and displayed exemplary restraint and forbearance. But this should not be repeated. I still would say, register the case and arrest them because they have transgressed the rule of law and propriety.
Absolutely. Aishwarya Mahadev, there are two different incidents that we are highlighting today. And is this justified? Are netas above law? What kind of a message is being sent to the people? Anyone can take law in their own hands?
Good evening, Hina. I think if you're a neta, your sense of responsibility is that much higher than anybody else because you're a public servant. You're there to work for the public. You are not there to be their overlord. And especially when it comes to you and your personal life, the sort of response that you need to have needs to set an example for everybody else because your life is not your own. There's a lot of public scrutiny for the same. And today, what you see are examples of where family members and leaders themselves believe they're above the law, and that is extremely shameful. And I'm very proud that the police in Karnataka also took action. It is shameful the manner in which the young girl acted, and I really hope Mr. Arvind Limbavali, who waxes eloquent about the Congress and the behavior of our leadership, can impart the same sort of wisdom to his own offspring, because that sort of behavior is absolutely disgusting and unbecoming if anything else. But the stronger fact is you need to send out a message when you are in government, any of your own, if they misbehave with any of your functionaries, any of the staff or any of the police, it is something that you need to set an example with and you need to shame them. I really hope Mr. Limbavali is called up and his daughter is, because you cannot be seen embarrassing the police force, which is our pride in Karnataka, publicly as well. But this is a practice. You have seen a lot of people over the ages, and I'll be honest, a lot of equal opportunity offenders in this case also. But I think for us, condemnation is easier to come on the Congress side, while on the BJP, you see them, condoning, they're okay with it in a lot of ways, but that is not the precedent that they have to set. I hope Mr. Bommai will set an example for the state and also uphold the respect of the police force, because they should not be made to feel embarrassed by an errant teenager's behavior because her father is somebody, to be very honest, Hina.
Absolutely. Anurag Naidu, Prime Minister Modi in 2017, while ending the Lal Batti culture, had said every Indian is special, every Indian is a VIP. Then in 2019, he reiterated, no VIP, only EPI. Every person is important. But look at what's happening in 2022. The party men, it seems, are not even taking Prime Minister's message seriously.
Well, I think there is no relation with what Prime Minister has sent a message, because clearly Mr. Somu Veeraraju, at least in this matter, or Mr. Arvind's daughter, they were not driving in a Lal Batti. At least Somu Viraju was very rare. I mean, in fact, as I know him personally, I can
The
vouch
Lal
for the
Batti
fact
was an
that
example I gave you, Mr.
no,
Naidu,
I'll
but the
tell you,
message
he
the
doesn't-
Prime
he was
Minister
traveling alone.
was trying
I'm
to
coming to
give
that point.
once in 2017,
I'm coming to that
then in
point.
2019 was no
I'm coming to
VIP,
that point.
only
I'm
EPI.
coming to that
Every
point.
person is important.
Yes, I'm coming to that point. See, VVIP racism is a reality in India, but there is also another side to it. We also have Mr. Vikram Singh on the panel, who is a former DGP, and I would, I can clearly put that out. Is even police and their actions are not sacrosanct many a times. They are, they have obligations towards political grandmasters sitting. And if, say it's in Somu Viraju's case, Section 144 was indeed, imposed. It was his hometown, and he was traveling alone in the car. So what does Section 144 say? Is the police doing their duty by, stopping him? If it was there, and why don't we investigate? And you're only reading one side of what argument happened, where Mr. Somu Viraju was engaged in a heated discussion, but police was also equally, aggressive on him. So it doesn't work that only political class is always, bullied, and they're always put in that dark light. Even in Congress, Aishwarya is there on the panel. I'm glad that she is speaking
Mr.
so nice
Anurag
about,
Naidu,
how we
when
should be dealing with
politicians are
VVIP racism.
involved,
But
definitely there is going to be politics as well. But my
I'll
question
tell you-
to you
I'll tell you
again
no party-
is what I asked Mr. Dinakar Lanka earlier. Hear my question first, Mr. Anurag Naidu. My question is simple. Whatever said and done, whatever might be the reason, what gives any neta in this country the authority to push any cop on duty? This is my simple question to you. What is
Very
the
good, very
message
good question, Hina.
BJP in Andhra Pradesh is trying to send to the people of this country, that if a cop tomorrow stops you, just push that cop away?
Hina, shall I answer? It's
Is
a very
this
good
what we
question.
want
This
the
needs to
country
be
to see?
answered. This needs to be answered, Hina, and you are not. You need to also do some homework. That it is touching the khaki of a cop is illegal, and because of that action, he has been charged and he has been put on a bars. So he has been detained, and action has been taken on Somu Viraju Garu, and he has faced that. He has accepted that, right? So does the matter end there? No, we should not end the matter there. We should also investigate what really happened on the ground, right? So I'm not saying only one side is green and not the other side. We also had seen Priyanka Gandhi in UP, in a similar kind of a scuttle with the police, and we also had visuals of what Rahul Gandhi in his yatra did in UP. So nobody is sacrosanct here. The matter is, and even if it is the case of Somu Viraju Garu, there are TDP leaders, the former Home Minister, who has been allowed to go to Amlapuram. He has done a press conference on the most burning issue, which is creating social imbalance in Amlapuram. So what led the cops give him the permission? So there are a lot of questions. The things are not so simple, and things are not black and white. Even in case of Mr. Arvind's daughter, we really don't know what happened there, and sometimes cops tend to be going on an aggressive mode. I mean, I have at least not seen, having traveled so widely across the globe.
Okay,
and 18
Mr.
countries,
Vikram
I've
Singh,
not seen
how will you
cops
like
being
to
so harsh.
respond to the point specifically about the cops here in both the cases that Mr. Anurag Naidu has raised? For a moment, let's give this neta a benefit of doubt. I'm talking about the case in Andhra specifically. Now, he claims that he was provoked by the cops. This is what he told Mirror Now. Are cops supposed to give special treatment to a neta? Do cops misbehave with
certainly
netas?
not. Certainly not.
Can cops
Bas-
misbehave with netas?
So basic courtesy is all that is expected of the police, and I've served in the police for 36 years, guiding, mentoring, and coaching police officers now for the last 10 years. Now, let me tell you, Mr. Naidu has raised very pertinent, logical, and cogent questions. The neta, the BJP president said, torturing my vehicle. I really don't know what is meant by torturing my vehicle. Then, foul language. He was the only person talking, not the policeman. Policeman did not utter a single word. He was the one who was doing a monologue, one-sided conversation. The third was brutal language by the police department. When you have a monologue, you don't allow the policeman to speak. I don't know what the language of silence become a brutal language. I don't understand. Now coming to the legal point, 332 case has been registered, and these video footages are sufficient evidence to charge sheet and convict both the daughter and the president of the BJP for what they have done, because the video footages on the face of it appears to be incontrovertible evidence. Of course, as Mr. Naidu said, the other side has to be heard, and the statements shall and will be recorded during the course of investigation 332 of the IPC, and may be read with other sections of the IPC. But the larger question of what Mr. Naidu, 144 CRPC is just one of the small provisions under which such action can be taken. There are action under 151 CRPC, there can be action other preventive measures, and there can be action on the basis of an intelligence input. You cannot fault the police for questioning people or searching their vehicles. This is the job. I have been an ex-DGP. When I go to the airport, I get a salute. I'm searched, again given a salute and wished happy and safe flight, sir. But the search happens even though I have been the DGP.
Mr. Dinakar Lanka, how will you like to respond now? Why should there be special treatment for a Neta? And what gives this license to any Neta in this country to push any cop on duty? What about the message that Prime Minister Modi has been giving? Is the Bharatiya Janata Party approving of the kind of behavior that we have seen today from Andhra Pradesh and from Karnataka?
BJP never tolerate indecent behavior when the civil servants attend their duty. The roles and responsibility of
so you accept the behavior was indecent? Mr. Dinakar Lanka, in the case of Andhra Pradesh, do you accept the behavior was indecent?
I never accept. BJP never accept. Even my party president never do such kind of thing during his life track record so far. But the incidents really happened is utterly very bad as far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned. Let you come these retired DGP from outside the state to the state of Andhra Pradesh, whether police are functioning with freedom of their roles and responsibilities, duties as adhered by the law. How many cases filed against this government? How many judgments have come from Honorable High Court? Due to this misgovernance from the state government, rude, utter administration of the Jagan Mohan Reddy is the root cause. He is influencing the police department, using as a tool against the political opponents. First, as far as this incident is concerned, it is very clear that video...
Aishwarya, my question still remains the same. Even though... BJP is being targeted in the state of Andhra Pradesh because it's the political opponent of the ruling party. What gives Mr. The BJP president there the license to push a cop like this on duty?
No. But let you give one.
I don't want to go into the politics here, Mr. Dinakar Lanka.
No. I am not talking about politics. I am talking about the videograph which is appearing. Whether there is such kind of big vehicles can be stalled on national highway. Isn't it crime? Isn't it appearing on video? Such a way in which the obstacles are created to stop the people for the democratic roles and responsibilities while they are discharging as a politician? No, it is clearly a conspiracy. Bharatiya Janata Party, ruling government, YSRCP government, Jagan Mohan Reddy is targeting Bharatiya Janata Party. He is using
it's a conspiracy against the Bharatiya Janata Party. Aishwarya, and then Mr. Vikram Singh.
You know, Hina, I think the larger question that comes into play is how impartial is your state's police? How caged are they? What sort of autonomy do they have? For example, up in the north, we saw cases of when, let's say, Uttar Pradesh, for example, where somebody spoke about my own leadership. You saw that even though we peacefully wanted 2 or 3 people to go meet families of the victim, you saw that the police force did not allow us. You also saw that, unfortunately, that you saw people who are in positions of power also improperly use their power in terms of the Hathras case also. So we see instances such as this. But then the more dangerous instances come when the cops also in the state, right? This is obviously somebody in power. When you talk about police conspiracy or whatnot, the example of the little girl in Karnataka and in Bangalore is something where her father is high up in, let's say, the BJP, is an MLA and is very powerful. And obviously the idea or the thought that she believes she's above law. There is a distinction where you believe you're fighting for right, and there's a distinction of entitlement where you believe you're above the law, and that is what is problematic. And I think police forces as a whole, I think it's a question of being impartial, irrespective, the way that you expect the administrative to be impartial, the way that you expect the judiciary also to be impartial. I think that is the sort of question here. And more than anything else, I think it's about the purpose of how you believe that the police force should be. And that is more of a question that we need to ask ourselves. Because again, I will repeat, all of us have offenders on our side. It is how the state acts that dictates to you the power of the police force, the neutrality, and also the impartiality of the force, which is not there in this case, to be very honest,
Absolutely.
in terms of the offenders and the response.
Mr. Vikram Singh,
Obviously, words of profound wisdom
it
from
is
Ms.
about
Aishwarya.
Bharatiya Janata Party today.
Yes, please.
It is about Bharatiya Janata Party today because we have two separate incidents that have been reported from two states in the country, but it happens across all political parties. It's about the entitlement culture that we want to end, that we want to focus on this urban debate tonight. I mean, when will this license really end, that you have the authority to do anything you feel like just because you're a Neta, just because you're a Neta's son or daughter?
Absolutely, Hina, you have hit the nail on the head. Any party, irrespective of geographical location or all India presence, it is difficult to identify a single political party that does not have a sense of entitlement. But for Ms. Aishwarya, who has come out with very profound and balanced statements, I would have said, let him cast the first stone who has not sinned before. There are deviants on every side and in every political party, in the police department as well. But as the uniform, one who dons the uniform itself means impartiality, but it is easier said than done. I would say that we have miles to go before we say that we have a satisfaction level of being servants of the people. But to the contrary, as one learned panelist had said, that obstruction of the road by a large vehicle, is it allowed? The police are entitled to search and seizure. If you can see the obstacles raised by the police for the purpose of stopping the traffic, they can use the obstacles that are red in color and also their own vehicle to be a physical obstacle. I see nothing illegal or illegitimate in that. So, Hina, I would see that in this case, the police have been very patient and forbearance. Things are very different in my state, as you very rightly said, the DGP from other state. We in the Indian Police Service are exposed to policing in the entire country and abroad. We have foreign postings and can be posted anywhere in the country. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's an important point you have made. Mr. Anurag Naidu, it's not about one political party here that we are targeting. We're talking about two incidents that have been reporting, and it just happened that, the Netas involved in both the cases, or the daughter of a Neta involved in, one of the case is from Bharatiya Janata Party, but it happens across all political parties. Parties change, but this sense of entitlement continues. For how long will this continue is my question. Don't you think now an example needs to be set?
Yeah, absolutely. This is high time that we need to set an example. And I think I'm very glad that Mr. Vikram Singh brought a very beautiful point. He took the whole debate towards the entitlement, the sense of entitlement. That's where the whole thing is coming. Why do we see these things happening in the States? Particularly, I'm very unfortunate coming from South India. I can tell you, entitlement is a buzz. Entitlement is it's a very macho feeling where the politicians flaunt half a dozen of police going around them, and people love that. And people vote this kind of politician who show this kind of brazen entitlement or the power or whatever you may call. So when you do away with this culture, when you stop, this Neta, voting this Netas who are flashing or flaunting their entitlement, that's when the whole debate comes. The police entitlement, as Aishwarya said, state autonomy, police autonomy, and neutrality, it's incredible. It sounds really great. But let me tell you, our system does not allow this change because we call them state police for a reason that they're the police department of the state. So when you have a government in the state, they're bound to follow their masters. That's how the structure is defined. And that's why we have military and paramilitary and, so on and so forth, a lot of other forces. But we see this change happening in the urban areas, particularly Delhi and Bombay, where people don't buy these arguments. We have leaders like, say, I can take some names from Congress himself, Milind Devra. These are the people who don't follow this kind of protocol. They are one among the people. Arvind Kejriwal can also be one of the examples who are trying to deviate from this VVIP culture. So the urban India is bringing up the change. Unfortunately, South it's very educated in that sense, but still that sense of entitlement, I can, coming from Andhra and the political circles of Andhra, I can tell you it is a big thing. I mean, people love to see their netas flaunting, the police around them flaunting 10, 20 cards and the convoys, and people vote. People love to see that happening. So the moment people do away with this culture, the moment people start asking questions to the netas, and that's when we will see this cultural change. But on a system level, this can never be a change.
And that is the reason why we are having this debate today. Aishwarya Mahadev, while we also heard what the BJP leader had to say on what happened in Andhra Pradesh. If that was about politics, what is happening in Karnataka definitely is not politics, because here you see a Neta's daughter not driving properly has been penalized. I mean, when we are also out on the roads driving our cars, the policemen, the traffic police there, I'm sure does not know, who that person is behind the wheels, isn't it?
Sir, namaste.
Aishwarya.
Hi,
Aishwarya.
Hina, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? No, I think, see, that's the distinction that you need to draw. If the police force is being used for political means in terms of suppression, or, in cases where they unfairly might obviously impose a curfew, or if there's like things and incidents that have happened, that is one thing where you sit and examine. But this is purely a case of entitlement. This is purely a case of an errant child that believes they're above the law because their father is an MLA or the father is a minister or something of that sort. And that is extremely unacceptable behavior. And I think, there are several instances of where the BJP has cried murder about, what has happened with the Congress. And I really hope they set a good precedent by doing the same here, that you obviously allow either action, or obviously, because what she did to the media is manhandling the media. I think, since the BJP talks about being such a different party with such a difference, then they should obviously take the first step in obviously condemning this action, having Mr. Limbavali publicly apologize to our police forces, as well as have the daughter apologize for her actions. Because every time, you talk about it, they talk about instances in the Congress where we've done this and that and whatnot. But in every case such as that, we have taken action. And I think that is where we set the precedent. Now the BJP should put their money where their mouth is in this instance, to be very honest, Hina. Otherwise, what sort of message are they sending? They talk about we're against VIP culture. They talk about us being against dynasty. And this child is a prime example of how not to behave being a public representative's daughter.
This is VIP arrogance. Mr. Dinakar Lanka, what action can we expect? Okay, Anurag Naidu also wants to come in. Quickly respond. Anurag Naidu first, then Mr.
Definitely.
See, what happens is, I've also personally had some kind of scuttles that we see with Mr. Arvind's daughter. What really happens is, my father is not an MLA, but if I see some police misbehaving with me or being rude to me, I stand my ground and I ask him, why are you doing this? Just because she was an MLA daughter and media cameras were trying to get some
in Andhra Pradesh and in Karnataka, in both the states, you are saying police misbehave with, Mr. Limbavali's daughter, and in Andhra Pradesh, the police misbehave with the Andhra Pradesh BJP chief. Very good. Mr. Dinakar Lanka. Mr. Dinakar Lanka. No, I'm not generalizing. I'm just raising two important points because there is visual proof. Mr. Dinakar Lanka, yes.
I speak as far as Andhra Pradesh is concerned. Today, Jagan Mohan Reddy government has become one-time non-serious government because of their attitude. Let you see, examine Raghuram Raju, who was tortured, MP was tortured in the jail. He went to the Supreme Court to take action against the state government police personnel. To take the classical example, it is recently happened. And the police are using against the political opponents to settle their score. It becomes a common phenomenon in the state of Andhra Pradesh. Honorable former DGP said that the police has every right to stop such seizure. I accept it. But there should be a mind to think to whom such kind of operations can be happen, whether the BJP chief of Andhra Pradesh is a terrorist or any kind of criminal past track record is there to do
No,
such
whatever
kind of
might be the reason, what gave him the license to push the cop? Mr. Dinakar Lanka, I don't want to talk about the politics here. I don't really want to focus on that. I want you to address what the people of this country can see in the visuals. And he can be seen pushing a cop. Is this justified? Yes or no?
No.
Is this justified? Yes or no?
No, I already told very clearly such kind of behavior should not be happen. But the things happen behind. What kind of language they use? Do you know that they speak in Telugu? Even police personnel used abusive language against Sombir Razu. That you take full length of video, not cut and paste videos or not give conclusive evidence.
No, I have not. No, I have not done that. I am still raising the same question which I raised earlier also. I will give the last word to Mr. Vikram Singh on the point that you have raised about police using foul language. Mr. Vikram Singh, closing comments.
I would say that the concerns raised by Mr. Dinakar are absolutely genuine, but let me assure you that a case being registered will be investigated, and every point that Mr. Lanka has raised shall be investigated threadbare. And if the policemen are at fault, they'll be taken to task. As you very rightly said, the police are supposed to be impartial and have to be very mature. Obviously, they knew that they were accosting the head of the BJP of a particular state. They must have taken precautions and they've taken the search warrants. I do hope on merits this does not happen again, and both sides will take their lessons very appropriately and maturely.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you very much, all of you, for joining us here on Urban Debate on Mirror. Now I'm completely out of time, and we can really hope that these incidents will set an example, and hopefully this entitlement culture, this VIP arrogance that we keep seeing again and again in different parts of the country, this feeling that some netas have that they are above law, will go away very soon. Thank you for the moment for joining us on Urban Debate this evening. Heading